On behalf of the team listed here, who are responsible for the development of the design, we wanted to thank you for the opportunity to present the Warwick Comprehensive Model High School project tonight. Secotio and Associates Architects are the executive architect, and Saam Architecture are the associate architects. Through our presentation, we will review the following items, starting with the adjacency diagram developed during visioning. Next, the model school concept diagram showing the organization from which both Pilgrim and Tollgate High Schools originated. We will show you the proposed site plans for the Pilgrim and the Tollgate sites, as well as the overall floor plan diagrams. The visual permeability diagrams show this design's clear sightlines, which enhance views to the outdoors and security of the building. Next, we will look at a series of diagrams showing how the building is designed with safety and security in mind, as well as the community event usage of the buildings. Finally, we've illustrated both the interior and the exterior with a series of perspective views, as well as an animation video to walk you through the model high school. This is the adjacency bubble diagram developed by our educational planning consultant together with the schools at the visioning sessions in the spring of 2019. With a 21st century learning approach, decentralized departments and groupings of different classroom types form small learning community clusters like you see here. Traditional learning areas are integrated with flexible extended learning areas, administrative spaces, teacher planning centers, and support spaces. Because we're creating two comprehensive high schools, the small learning communities also integrate career tech classrooms or CTC programming. The public versus the student use spaces are defined and zoned for safety and security. As another reminder, this is the original concept diagram we first presented at our meeting with RIDE in August. This matrix outlines the comments made by RIDE at this meeting, which included coherent wayfinding, optimal building orientation, equity and identity, programmable circulation, and a superior school culture. Through stage 2, we have been actively working to refine the original concept diagram into a project that further responds to RIDE's comments. In doing so, we presented this list of corresponding design considerations to RIDE in November, which outline the major goals of the project and include economy of structure, space, materials, and equitable model school approach, environmental design, including sustainability, clarity of circulation through planning, adaptability and flexibility with future change, and the building experience through visual permeability. The development of a model school has been adapted to both site locations. At Pilgrim, we've cited the new building to the east, which borders the adjacent commercial context. As a reference, you can see the demolished existing school building outlined dashed in red. The parking is set back from Pilgrim Parkway, establishing a generous landscape buffer between the residential neighborhood, as well as serving as a bioretention zone and acoustical barrier. The vehicular traffic plan is designed for peak high volume traffic with maximum flexibility and adaptability for current, future, and occasional traffic patterns. Parallel bus and car drop-off lanes and 3 drop-off locations at the 3 building entrances reduce pedestrian travel distances and disembarkation time. The stadium and sports fields are linked to the gymnasium entrance to the west of the site, and all sports fields are oriented optimally relative to the sun path. At Tollgate, the building is mirrored and placed on the higher elevation, while the stadium is placed at the lower elevation of the site. The existing restaurant building will be reused as both CTC and athletic support spaces. We have developed a 2-story building, and here we are showing the overall first floor plan diagram. Pilgrim is being used to illustrate the model high school. Aside from mirroring the building, variations in the Tollgate plans mainly include the differing CTC programs. The model school building is organized around this central spine we are calling the boulevard. Serving as circulation space as well as occupied by the learning and dining commons, we see the boulevard as an active public space with visual and physical connections to adjacent programs and the outdoors. There are 3 small learning communities on the first floor to the east, and the gymnasium and the auditorium to the west. You'll see the colorful composition of the small learning communities that is reminiscent of the early visioning bubble diagram, bringing together different departments. The light blue extended learning areas are multi-purpose, collaborative learning spaces open to all departments, which encourage additional cross-curricular engagement between classrooms. There are 3 more small learning communities on the second floor, as well as additional programming at the gymnasium. The classrooms are oriented to the ideal north-south building orientation, maximizing the quality of light for learning. As a model school designed with adaptability and flexibility in mind, the academic wings can expand or contract as needed to accommodate the differing CTC offerings at the 2 high schools. These plan diagrams have been formed based on the RIDE dictated quantities and allowances, as well as user input. During planning and for coordination with the users, the learning space capacity information layered here identifies the type of learning space by its student capacity and tallies the maximum quantity of students that can be housed in all the learning spaces at one time. These diagrams explore the extent to which the building is designed with visual permeability in mind. We have identified visual permeability as the clear sightlines from indoors to the outdoors, labeled external, as well as from one indoor space to another, labeled internal. In addition to the windows along the perimeter, the green arrows show the direct or indirect visual connection of the indoors with the outdoors, allowing access to natural daylighting and views of the sky, clouds, and trees is an experience called biophilia, which when exposed to supports the mental health, productivity, and social emotional learning of building occupants. The blue arrows demonstrate where the safety and security from staff and faculty occupied spaces overlooking student and public spaces is maximized. With straight sightlines, we are designing with clarity of wayfinding to enhance safety and to deter bullying. Additionally, the blue circles show where there are vertical visual connections from one floor to the other. Along with in-depth security coordination, the next 2 diagrams illustrate how we've planned for safe areas in the building through function and materials. Here on level 1, for example, areas of shelter are provided in the public spaces of the learning and dining commons of the boulevard. On both levels, you can see the shadow zones highlighted within the classrooms where groups of students are protected from activity outside the classrooms. By nature of the material, the masonry egress stairs also act as areas of refuge. We are studying ways that these safe zones can be integrated into the interior design as safety wayfinding, perhaps by assigning a certain safe color to walls and floors that double as areas of refuge. We expect the comprehensive schools to house community events as well. This next series of diagrams show how different zones in the building can be used while the others are securely closed off. This diagram shows the areas that are accessible during an event in the gymnasium, namely the public portions of the boulevard, the public toilets, and the gymnasium areas, while the secure access points are circled in red. For second floor gym usage, there is a direct access from the gym entrance to the walking track stairs. Outside of event use, the walking track is a strong community asset that can be used locally beyond the student population. For an event in the boulevard, there are similar secure access points at the small learning communities and egress stair doors which would typically remain open during the school day. Similarly, while typically open, a roll-down shutter provides security of the gymnasium from an event in the boulevard, while still providing access to the centrally located public toilets. For an event in the auditorium, there are similar security measures as mentioned previously, as well as additional public toilets provided in the main entrance lobby. This is an aerial view of the building from the southeast. The 3 volumes to the east are the academic wings, housing the 6 small learning communities. The gymnasium volume to the west relates to the sports fields beyond. The auditorium is also to the west, defining a prominent corner of the building. And connected to the main entrance, the boulevard runs through the middle, linking the programs on the east and the west. We have focused on the economy of materials for efficiency and panelization of the facade. The first floor is composed of large format masonry as the base with punched windows. The second floor is composed of a rain screen system with segments of glass, photovoltaics, metal, and fiber cement panels. The entry to the new school is clearly defined by the intersection of three basic massing elements: the first floor base, the second story facade, and the auditorium. The geometric composition of the three building masses creates a well-protected entrance, eliminating the need for costly architectural components such as a canopy. The composition of materials further defines the entrance, clearly signaling where to enter from all angles of approach. We've coordinated the facade modules with the structural grid of the building for flexibility and adaptability. We regulated the floor-to-floor heights at 14 feet throughout so that a CTC classroom can be swapped with a general classroom space, for example, without interrupting the overall design or the facade. PV panels have a 25 to 30-year warranty, and with the removal of 6 machine screws, can easily be repaired or replaced. While they are integrated within several small learning communities, we are exploring ways of connecting programs like art, CTC, science, and other core academics. In this exterior perspective, you can see the use of the courtyard space between small learning communities for outdoor cross-curricular engagement. The 720-seat auditorium provides space for both music and theater productions. It is simple, accessible, and also functions as a teaching space. It uses wood, glass, and masonry materials for their biophilic and acoustic properties. Visibility to the gymnasium, shown in this perspective view from the boulevard through the Hall of Fame entrance into the gymnasium. Decentralized administrative conference rooms are accessible from the public zone of the dining commons and can serve as flexible meeting spaces with an example of additional administrative oversight to the boulevard. Like the dining commons, the learning commons are located within the boulevard with visibility to and through it. We have zoned the learning commons so that it is accessible and visible, but also contained by way of glass partitions and book stacks. As designed, the library space is fully enclosed with secure entrances and exits. Each exit will have electronic monitoring devices to prevent books from being taken out without the proper procedures. There is a closed area of the library specifically intended for quiet study and small group teaching. A multi-purpose shared flex classroom located adjacent to the learning commons can be scheduled as a teaching space on an as-needed basis. We've designed library shelving to accommodate 15,000 books, and the circulation desk is centrally located as required. The learning stair not only connects activities from the first to the second floor, but also serves as programmable teaching space with storage underneath. It is an extension of the more public side of the learning commons where students gather and move. This perspective view shows the visual permeability between the learning commons and the extended learning areas on both floors of the boulevard to the outdoor learning and the exterior. This is a perspective view of the second floor boulevard overlooking the learning commons on the first floor. As an extension of the boulevard circulation, the clearly zoned extended learning area also has direct connections to the exterior. Revealing the structure and exposing the makeup of its materials, we believe the building itself can serve as an object from which to learn. This interior perspective shows the concepts of permeability with both exterior visibility to the outdoors and interior visibility through observational adjacencies of the level 2 programming. 2 sides of bleachers serving 1,316 seats flank the double height volume of the gymnasium. The gymnasium's double height volume not only allows for a walking track, but also a rock climbing wall extended vertically. There is direct visual and physical access to the outdoor fitness and sports fields beyond this indoor fitness area. While activating this area, the glass also brings natural daylighting into some of the more internal gym program spaces. This final perspective view demonstrates the experience of passing through or occupying the Science Conservatory Bridge. While science classrooms are no longer departmentalized and are spread amongst different small learning communities, the conservatory acts as another way to connect small learning communities via educational programming and biophilia. We've prepared an animation for you to walk you through more of Warwick's comprehensive model high school.